Well, the problem that most of us have is we think that we're all alone. We think that we're the only ones going through all this stuff. I thought it. Most of us think that if you're fat, which I was fat for a while, you think you're the only fat person in the world. Your vision becomes very narrowed. And what happened to me was, all I did was I peeled back. And I was able to get on top of a mountaintop in my head. And when you're high on that mountain, you have a great vantage point. And I was able to look down at the world. And all of us are jacked up. Some of us hide it better than others, but we're all jacked up. And once you realize that, you got to come out of your shell. You got to accept who you are. You got to accept the demons that life gave you, that maybe you gave you. Whoever gave them to you, you got to accept that. You got to be able to look them in the mirror, look them in the eye and say, okay, I'm going to start fixing these things. But if you think that you're by yourself, the reality of your life becomes very, very horrible. And you're not. We are all jacked up. And once you realize that, man, it's like whatever. You don't even look at the crowd anymore. You look at your own race, you do your own race, you do your own thing, and you finally find out who you're supposed to be in this life. Well, that was huge, man, because social media, I'm very fortunate. I'm almost 48 years old, and I came up in a time when there was no social media, so you can just focus on what you had to do. That social media, man, it kind of draws you in, and it makes you just, all your feelings, a lot of your feelings come from that social media. And it's just a lot of young people and even older people, they live on that phone. And the comments and looking at, if you're fat, you're seeing skinny people who have gone through and airbrushed half of their badness out of them. Or if you're not real smart, people only put up on social media what they're good at. They put up all the good times. They don't put up the bad times. I put up the bad times. But what you have to realize about all these different things, you will never in your life meet a hater doing better than you. All these people are going on here hating you and disliking you, and you got to peel back from all that, man. We get sucked in like a vacuum, and we can't see anything. You got to peel back and say, what kind of human being is able to do these things? They're in a bad spot, a much worse spot than you are. So you have to learn to study everything in life. Everything in life you have to study. Study people. Most people are extremely weak. So they want to make you feel just like they do. And this is all science, man. It's all A, B, C, D type stuff, man. Well, the inside is the most important thing, Chris, because there were so many times in my life growing up I wanted to fit in. And I wanted to be part of a group. And I didn't have any want. And I didn't have that desire. So when you're trying to fit in, when you're trying to be cool, when you're trying to be whatever the hell it is, without having that internal dog, that fight, when things get hard in life, all you do is quit. When you have that internal in you, like I've developed over a lot of years, this dog, it starts to get built up in you, this fight, this warrior. And when things get difficult, you may not make it, but you come back. You start to build a different voice in your head. That internal conversation, that internal strength, that internal dog, it starts to develop an internal voice. And while my voice in my mind for the first 24 years of my life was very weak, when I started to really build my insides, like my guts getting hard and everything about me getting harder, it developed a different voice. That voice of nurturing, like, oh, David, you came from an abused family. You came from this, you came from that. It's okay. This dog started coming up where it's not okay. I wanted to be one of the 1%ers, not the 99%. I realized I had one life to live, and I have to live it. There's not two lives, there's one life. And all these things started happening to me. And then once that started happening, man, everything flipped. But that internal, it starts to build a voice in you that doesn't allow you to sleep in. Doesn't allow you to take days off when you know that you're behind. It just keeps you in check throughout everything you're doing in life because it's not going to allow you to fail. But if you'll work on the inside of you, you will always have that nurturing voice that guides you where it's okay. It's always okay. And if I would have had that, it would have been okay to stay 300 pounds doing what I was doing. So that entails everything.